ready to start. Rustam Kasimdzhanov managed to win against Peter Svidler. Let's see what happened in this game. It was hard to understand all these lines, and well, theory was not.
Okay, I played the same line like I did against Anish. And,
Which was completely unexpected, of course, as usual.
And Peter played one of the main lines, but I mean, I really couldn't keep my poker face because this is Peter's own line, and I know.
Yeah, that was kind of unpleasant because being treated to my own medicine here, and but obviously I've looked at this. I played this against Boris in the London Candidates, and I've looked at it sort of before and after, and there's a lot of forced lines starting, let's say, from c5 in this position, but after some thought I decided to check something which actually happened in the first game.
Yeah, I think c5 was Tomaszewski, Rajabov.
Lots and lots of games by now. This is a very forced line.
Some this position, but this is of course a very interesting position.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on in that line, and also I think this is what I finally recommended in my videos, and by now I've resigned myself to the fact that people have actually watched it.
Have you watched it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a problem, because if you do exactly what you say you're supposed to do there, people are probably going to be prepared. So
it's what you actually mentioned during your comments in Sochi, that
yeah,
you might be on thread.
But I mean, I didn't show everything I think about the Grunfeld in the videos, because there's not enough time in the world, and I wanted to do something which is I mean, this is what Boris did against me in the first game ever in this line: bishop g4, bishop f3. But after queen f3 he went c6, which is a very, very poor move, and he accepted it himself after the game. It's just too slow. Then h4, and white has a tremendous attack. But after knight d7 it gets very sharp, because it's an important tempo. I want to play c5 as early as possible, and it's a strange position. I mean, it's a book we both with Rustam know and love. It's a kind of a line where, to say that this is dangerous for black would be very similar to saying that if you hold a red hot poker in your hand for a while, your hand might feel slightly uncomfortable. It's a huge understatement to say that this is dangerous for black, but I think it might be playable.
Yeah, but actually I don't think I treated this line correctly. I feel that, okay, if white is better, then maybe he's better by keeping his king on e1.
Yeah, I mean, both a4 and h4 are very sensible here.
Yeah, probably h4, and then to play with rook d1 instead of castling long. Maybe king is better on e1, because once I castle long, I also have to waste some time on king e1.
Boris rejected this because of a4, which is also an interesting idea, but because it's not clear how black should react. But I mean, what you did is quite decent, but I thought, castles e6, of course I should not allow c5, d5. King b1 is normal, c5, takes, e4, queen e7. I felt that I should have a perfectly decent position here. I
think by now it looks like Slav.
Yeah, it's some kind of a Slav where I was mainly worried about getting mated, but your next two moves showed that you did not really believe there's a mate available.
I thought if somebody is mating anybody, it's not me.
I mean, I thought you should start with h4 anyway. I mean, just to sort of remind me this exists.
I just didn't see any mate. Yeah? Rook, I know. I thought rook d8, knight a4. I thought.
No, but this is
rook f d8. Yeah.
Well, rook f d8. That was kind of the point. I wasn't so sure about those lines. e5, f6, h5. I couldn't really understand what's going on here, and that felt critical to me. I mean, it's very, very possible I'm doing well here. I'm not saying that black is necessarily worse. It's just that it felt to me that this might be critical, and I was thinking of playing rook a d8 anyway, because in the same lines, of course, it's better for me to have the rook on f8. It's connected to play much. Oops, sorry. Let's say I can take on e5 here and play h6, and it's of course to my huge benefit that the rook is still on f8 here. And I thought h4, rook a d8, bishop e2 was the critical position. So when you played bishop e2, the only reason I didn't play rook a d8 immediately was that you suddenly gave me more options. I can actually play rook c8 here, for instance, which is, I think, an interesting idea.
Yeah, I thought maybe I can start.
Yeah, but this is why I rejected it. I thought rook c1, rook h d1 might be a decent idea.
Or even rook c2, rook c1.
Yeah, generally moving it over to c2 might be a good idea for white, because it stabilizes the queen side quite well. And finally, this is why I rejected rook a8. But after rook d8, rook h1, I have a feeling I should be doing fine here.
Yeah, I thought it's just a perfect slap. I was not even sure, for instance, if black would play something like this. It looks horrible,
Yeah,
but
f5.
f5 and takes. I was just not sure what this is.
Queen takes.
Knight e6.
Yeah, maybe. But this I wasn't so happy about this.
I was
somehow.
not scared, but I thought it would be just plain unclear. Because, okay, this is a monster on d4, yeah?
Yeah, so maybe this was a decent idea.
And, I mean, even rook takes d2.
Yeah, rook takes d2 we both considered, of
I
course,
was
but
not certain.
And
Because I cannot take queen c3 because of knight e4. So I have to allow this bc. There is no mate, but there is a lot of play. I thought rook c8.
yeah, I thought, let's say, in some order,
I have to start crawling, yeah? I don't know, how king a1 maybe.
yeah, king a1, knight maybe ca4, yeah,
Knight ca4, knight...
rook c2 or rook c1, I don't know,
I crawl a bit more.
queen a3, maybe you play c4. It looks a bit, yeah.
But, I thought somehow you play like this and you look at me, yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, queen e3, rook b1, yeah, it's a strange, I mean, black definitely has compensation, but I wasn't so sure, you know, how much of compensation black has. And also, I was very happy with rook d4. The reason I didn't do this was that I misunderstood the tactical, the complications after rook d4, because it felt to me like this cannot be a bad move, because in some positions I might even play rook b4.
Yeah, for instance, if I go bishop c1 now,
Yeah, I think
then I
rook
thought
b4.
rook b4 is already dangerous for
Yeah,
white.
rook b4 is a very decent idea.
And then maybe I'll be getting mated.
e5, f6, and yeah, it's very difficult to deal with those pieces. a3, rook b3, and there's no pieces that can attack the rook on b3, and then if the long diagonal gets opened, I felt, you know, this is a very promising position for me, very interesting counterplay. But I completely missed the whole point of e5, f6, knight b5. It felt to me like this doesn't really make much of a difference, but it does actually.
No, I was eyeing this pin for a while now, because I know, can I right click here? No, I cannot right click. Maybe I can do like this. This I was seeing for a while.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But I wasn't sure it was going to work tactically, because I was even
Rook a4, but
the
the problem was rook a4, and the reason I finally rejected it, I think b4 wins. That was my.
It's
No, but-
possible. Maybe,
no,
maybe B3.
b3 or b3 and b4. Yeah, those two
I
things.
thought B3, rook E,
Rook e4 and now b4.
or even this.
Now
Slow
this I
approach.
wasn't so sure, because now maybe I can sacrifice an exchange in some fashion, like rook e3, knight d5, fe5.
Yeah,
I
this is
might get some
possible.
play, but b4 might be just winning here. That was my major worry. I just couldn't make this work at all.
Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, you just take on c5 next move and you collect like a whole bunch of material.
Yeah,
too
no,
much,
that's
too,
true.
too much material. I can't really sacrifice a whole rook somewhere.
That's true. Now rook d5 looks like a most.
Yeah, but this
normal
is
move.
what I was planning. But you can also start with queen a3. Actually.
I can also start with queen a3, and I can even play queen a3 and bishop e3.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, but I'm not sure it's better on e3. Probably it's still better on b4 because I play knight d7 anyway.
Yeah, I thought the ef will be a huge tempo at some point.
I think it might actually be advantageous for you to have it on b4 because I.
Yeah.
So we get to this position: bishop b4, fe, queen a3, knight bd7, and yeah, it's very, very difficult to understand what's going on in practical play because.
Yeah, but also for white it is difficult because there are so many
Yeah.
moves to consider.
That was my
No, I was looking at this, for instance. I thought this was going to be nice.
but I thought I could just take on d1 maybe and even maybe go greedy like ef4. I don't see how I lose.
Yeah, but now I start, I'm not pinning you down, yeah? Bishop c4 or bishop g4. I mean, this is a huge pin.
No, I understand, but in this position I thought I can play something like queen f6. Because b2 is also hanging. I will have queen f5 check in some position.
And if I
It's a
got
strange
bishop
position.
g4?
What's changing? Queen f6?
Yeah, no,
Queen F5.
I was seeing this.
Yeah, but I just take on e6.
Rook d7,
Okay, and make a move.
bishop
like,
c3 is a pretty big threat.
That is true.
And,
Hard to argue with that.
But the reason I rejected this was I started seeing some, well, semi-ghosts. Yeah, I don't know if this qualifies as a semi-ghost.
Yeah,
And suddenly it got very confusing for me, because after rook d6 suddenly there is no pin, and my head started uh, giving me some problems, to put it mildly. And then I thought maybe it's just safer to start with the other move.
yeah. This took me by surprise because it gives me a tempo to do something, and it doesn't feel like I should be losing on the spot somehow. But it's very hard to find a solution because I felt that taking a pawn and unpinning one of your pieces cannot be bad, but there are serious problems after rook takes f4. So maybe I should be looking for a different move here.
What is the threat of white at the moment?
The moment is
Well,
rook takes d5. And
Rook d5, bishop d7 will
d7,
win win some material. So I don't know. Maybe you could consider playing this. I'm coming to think about this now. I don't know. Maybe knight c7
Maybe
wins.
knight e7 will crash simply. No, and then take.
Yeah, this is possible. But once again, yeah, I don't know. Let's say queen f6.
Knight takes e6.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is somehow always a problem.
And bishop c3 next move is just mate, yeah. So I think it's
Well, it's
very
not
mate-ish.
mate yet, but it's very matey. Yeah, it's true. So I mean, rook f4 looks like a very, very natural move to make. I don't know. Maybe the machine shows some miraculous way to deal with this, but rook f4 doesn't seem like it's losing. And if white has to play rook d5, e5, knight c3, it seems to me, it seemed to me at first that I have to be able to, at least find a way to return some material and play something. But for instance, one of my bigger problems was if I go rook b4, queen b4, and let's say knight f6, knight d5 just wins on the spot. Knight d5, queen c4. Well, wins on the spot is maybe an overstatement. Maybe compared to the game, this was preferable. But
but it does look winning.
I don't know, queen f7, queen c5, it just looks horrible. Because I think I will not be able to consolidate, and queen c8, bishop e6 is a huge threat. So, because at first I thought, okay, if all else fails, I will just return this exchange, and my position will not be that bad. But then it stopped working out for me, and
What about rook c4?
I don't know, maybe I should have...
Rook c4.
Yeah, rook c4, I
Does
looked
not
at
really
this.
defend, yeah, the piece.
At least.
Oh, I can take on c5 nonetheless. Yeah.
But also, yeah, I don't know, something like this might be also kind of winning material. Although there's rook before knight d3 here.
Which will
which-
not work, yeah? Queen
which-
d6.
Might still not work.
No, queen d6.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Let's put this on the board, yeah. Knight d3, queen d6, and bishop e6. So, yeah, no, but it's an incredibly tricky position to play on 15 minutes, and
No, I thought the best chance was queen somewhere f7 or f8.
yeah, this is what we were both looking at. I was mainly concentrating on queen f7, and now, no, sorry,
No, queen f8 I think is stronger because queen f7, bishop c5. I keep my good bishop on g4.
yeah, rook f1, something like this.
And then even, I think even rook d1?
Yeah, and just a quiet move like rook d1 should be objectively winning, I guess, for white. That was my problem. And hang on a second, I'm trying to...
Queen f8 is another move. Queen h4, but this was not working for
Queen
me.
h4, knight d5 transposes to the game, I think,
More or
pretty
less, yeah.
much, yeah. I
Mhm.
thought. Because the problem with queen h4 is that after knight takes d5,
Also G3
G3 is a
becomes a
huge
threat,
threat. Yeah, that's the... Otherwise it would be a decent move, but G3 is just coming in. G3 is coming in with huge effect, which was a major blow. That was kind of the trick with rook f7, because if bishop d7 here, then I go queen h4, and suddenly
that
I'm
would be
fine.
nasty, yeah.
Yeah, and suddenly I'm fine, but I wasn't really hoping for that too much. Yeah, I don't know. There was some... Yeah, no, the move I was looking at was, like this. Queen d6, forcing white to take on d7, because otherwise I think you don't win the material back. Queen d7, bishop c5, and now make some kind of a move. My biggest problem here is that if I go queen f5, king a1, rook f1, I think that would have been just perfect, if not for the fact that white has this. And I think I will end up losing this position. I think, although once again, maybe this was something I should have done, considering that the move I made more or less loses by force. I don't know, play something here.
H5.
Queen g2, queen a7, h5.
Yeah, but queen takes b7.
And I don't know. e4 followed by d4. I don't think I'm blundering up everything here. Yeah? No, yeah, there is a feeling that the a pawn will run incredibly fast here, and
But it is something of a chance. Even queen h3, queen d5, king h7, and then you try to run.
This probably loses. Yeah.
But this probably loses. Yeah. I mean,
So yeah, but once again, I'm interested to see if the machine already thinks I'm in.
Actually, machine, I just had 1 second to check. So rook c4 for some reason it gives somehow black holes, but I don't see what's the next move after rook d5.
Okay,
maybe
but
there is something you will find, but
yeah, it was.
C4, but I don't analyze.
Yeah,
Just
it was.
check also rook c4, knight d5,
queen d6 maybe.
Queen
But
d6
I don't
maybe.
know what after.
And
Looks
then there's
actually
rook
like-
d4 in the similar
maybe rook
position.
d4. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you take on d7, I was also not particularly happy about this, to be honest.
Oh,
Queen d7, bishop
takes,
c5.
takes, and maybe even e4, and you fight.
Yeah, doesn't seem obvious to me that this is so good for black, to be honest. No?
Maybe it's the only way to continue.
Yeah,
the
but
game.
it's still, of course, this has to be preferred to my choice. But basically, what happened was, I thought in this position I have time enough to play h5 or e4, doesn't matter. And I thought that, let's say rook d7. If knight f6, I have queen f6, obviously, and if queen a8, king h7, bishop c5, I take with the pawn, and after knight f6, I have queen f5 check in the end. But unfortunately, in this position, bishop takes c5 just wins a whole piece on the spot, which is not a particularly difficult variation, and I probably should have seen that, but I got slightly confused. And basically, after queen a7, I think it's completely resignable here already.
Yeah,
Because
well, knight b6 is also a huge
there are too
threat.
many threats. I mean, there's bishop d7 is a huge threat, but also knight takes b6 will win if I do something like, I don't know. I'm not even sure what
Theoretically, king h8,
yeah,
for
let's
instance,
say
knight b6.
queen c6, unfortunately, bishop c5 collects everything on the spot.
Yeah, and even there is one other.
Or
move,
bishop d7.
Bishop takes d7.
Or
also
bishop
wins,
d7
yeah.
as well, yeah, bishop
Rook
d7.
d7, knight e7 also
Yeah,
wins.
or this way. Yeah, it's just I think completely dead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this was the critical position, and I guess I should have spent sort of all of my time here trying to figure out what was going on. But I felt that I found some kind of a playable solution, which wasn't a playable solution. So
Yeah,
that was it.
position at this moment.
Yeah.
Any question about this game?
Just one question in the opening. I follow your games in Greenford. I like your games. It's just one question about bishop g4. I don't know. Is it already played by you or players?
It was played
No,
against me,
g5,
but
knight
it was
e6.
played against me by Gelfand in London.
Ah, okay.
I don't think it's the best move, but I think I thought it might be interesting to try it today because it leads to very sharp positions, and if White wants to achieve something, he has to play in a risky manner. He has to give.
Like long castle.
Yeah, I mean it becomes very, very double-edged as you can see, but you need to play precisely from that moment on. Obviously, it's not a position you can play badly.
I think it was a very good choice, actually, practically, because this is the only line I did not check. Because after
really?
Boris played this in the very first game, nobody followed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be any good. Yeah,
So
it has a very,
I
very
somehow
bad reputation.
Forgot about bishop g4 completely, and since then theory advanced so much that there was enough to do in all the other lines. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this bishop g4 took me by complete surprise.
That was probably the major point of playing it, because I felt that of all the moves I can make, this probably is the one Rustam has not looked at, because ever since that, because I was more or less winning by move 15 against Boris in that
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
and since that game, this line has an incredibly bad reputation. So I thought it might be interesting to repeat it and see if I can improve on Boris's play. But
Okay. Thank you.
sure.
Thank you.